Take your front seat. The runway lights are up and the room is buzzing. Welcome to Brand Runway, where fempreneurs, coaches and visionaries transform from hidden gem to high-end influence. I'm Jenni P, your front row guide to creating your own unforgettable brand presence. Each episode delivers the exact tools and brand direction to make you shine. From magnetic messaging to client attraction systems that feel as natural and delicious as a designer jacket. Whether I'm sharing backstage insights from my own journey or featuring conversations with brilliant innovators, you'll leave knowing exactly how to showcase your unique brilliance to attract your ideal customers. Because a luxury level brand presence shouldn't be exclusive. It should be accessible to every helping professional ready to step into your spotlight. Ladies, you've come to the right place. It's your time. And the champagne's on me. I am very fussy about who I put under the spotlight and who I put in the magazine. I only want to share the very, very best relevant female entrepreneurs out there for my audience. And I also love fresh faces and I love people with high energy. So I was recommended my guest today and I am super excited. I've only chatted to her once. I'm super excited to introduce to you someone who is a rising star at the moment in the entrepreneurial world. And we've got her whole story in this edition. So we are going to go straight to some of our favorite topics today. Me, it's branding, and Enfys, it's sales. So first of all, warm welcome, Enfys Maloney, to Brand Runway.
Thank you. What a fabulous introduction. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you today.
So can see your whole story. I know it is pretty impressive, and your rise to this amount of success has been actually quite recent from the pandemic. It's amazing the stories that come out of the pandemic. Give us a little potted version of what's happened since you changed your business from the pandemic to now, Enfys.
Okay, so in a nutshell, I was perfectly happy running my travel business, arranging wonderful tailor-made travel for holidaymakers. And all of a sudden, there came the pandemic and the travel industry was really badly hit. My business basically stopped making money overnight. I had hundreds and hundreds of holidays to refund, and I was put in a position of, oh my God, what next? And I looked back to my skill set and I thought, okay, so I can't sell holidays, but I can certainly help others with their salesmanship. And sales training with Enfys was born. And it has been an incredible journey of pursuit, really, going after brand building, business development, like organising my offers in such a way that are scalable, and every day making that decision and making that commitment to just trying, because I didn't want to get a real job. There was quite a lot of pressure on me to get a real job, go and get a job whilst you figure this out. And I was like, no, I got the idea and instantly just ran with it. So for the 4.5 years, that's exactly what I've done. And this brand has really cultivated into something really important and impact focused. And we help hundreds of female business owners predominantly, although we are open to everyone. We have a real strong following, female-led, service-based business owners who want to create impact and profit with their work, their expertise, and enjoy their businesses again. And yeah, it's been quite a challenge as well, to be honest.
I'm so glad you brought up that enjoying it, because navigating the online world, especially as it's so volatile and technology changes so fast, it is so hard to keep up with trends and things that work and things that work, whether it's, funnels or webinars or summits or whatever. You've chosen one of the choicest topics to excel in, which is, because we all need it and we're never going to stop needing it, which is sales. So we'll get onto that in a little bit. So first of all, I am fascinated to ask you a little bit about your brand you mentioned, and from an observer point of view and somebody with an eye for aesthetics, and branding, there's lots of colors, there's lots of energy. Did you do your branding, or are you the originator of your brand, or did you have help? How did your brand develop?
So as soon as I had the idea that I was going to run a sales training business, my second thought was it's got to look and feel differently. And one of the first things I did was went on Canva, which I didn't know how to use whatsoever, and I imported all of these colors. And I had there was a lot of gold in it, there was lots of rich blues in it. And I sent it to my sister and she was like, why is there fish on it? That's not sales training. And I was instantly a little bit like, why is she asking me why is there fish? And then I was like, of course, I want it to be immediately different, and I don't want it to look boring. I don't want it to feel like traditional sales training. I don't want it to resonate like boardroom vibes in any shape or form. And then I met my graphic designer, my graphic designer, and I sent her a picture of some doorknobs, and I was like, I want a logo that echoes these doorknobs. So if you actually put my logo sideways, you can see that they are doors with a bullseye in the middle, and the visual aspect and the visual communication that we have as a brand has always been fundamental to the whole brand development, the business development side of this business, client attraction, marketing, messaging. It's not in just like what you say, it's how you show up visually, what represents you, color, a boldness to look really different has been my steering ship, I guess. But also my name, Enfys, it means rainbow. I'm pretty kaleidoscopic at home. So, and I'm from a really artistic background. I'm from a really creative family and entrepreneurial family who've always embraced like great design and art really. And I wanted to bring that in somehow. But I don't know if I was led by the graphic designer as such. It's just he seems quite telepathic, and we've worked together for the 4.5 years. And when I sent her the Golden Peacock Awards, I started my business awards. In fact, I've got it here. I was like, can you make me, they call this an award tablet that looked really different. And she instantly knew how to like create that on brand for me. And that's how it's been. So the visual element, the visual communication is part of the story of this brand, and I absolutely love getting creative and colourful with it. And sometimes I have to rein myself in. Most of the time I don't, and I just go with it.
I love that you brought that up, that your name means rainbow in Welsh. Is correct?
Yeah.
And that there is an artistic influence, because there is a little bit of a tendency at the moment to reversion to what I call bubblegum colours.
So we do not have a candy floss brand.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I call them bubblegum colours, which are like pink and yellow and purple and everything kind of put haphazardly together just to make an impact, which for me does not speak money. It does not speak wealth or quality. Get it after a long period of black and rose gold. A lot of people are kind of experimenting with it, but I really believe that sobriety really represents everything that is quality, and your blues come through everything. It's a royal blue. It's a really, really royal blue, and with gold, of course, it's rich. And because you have an artistic eye, even though there's lots of things happening on your beautiful web pages, it's tasteful. So I'm just sharing that with you. So it is a really, really engaging, visually engaging brand. And what I love about it, as you said, is that you don't expect that always with sales training, because it's so fundamental and so foundational to marketing. So to have sales training in the context of all this vibrancy and rainbows and peacock feathers and gold and your own energy and your beautiful smile that we see everywhere is for sure, and your clever graphic designer is an absolute hit. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I think I wanted it to feel like a boutique premium brand, even if it became quite a large brand. And I also wanted to be, everything that we do is quite experience rich, and I it to be an experience, whether you're looking at one of our brochures or whether you are holding a Golden Peacock Award or whether you are on my Zoom room. I want it to feel unique and interesting. I think business development, sales training, marketing, it has a kind of, you could think of it as a boring topic, but I think it's just so energetic and exciting, and it's such a beautiful thing when it's done well, and we can use our creativity and our love for shape and colour to infuse into our brand messaging. I think it's important, and we definitely, I don't think I've ever used a pastel colour. Everything is quite bold and intentional, and draws people in. I think people enjoy looking at the website. They enjoy the experience of the brand because it's I always think of like the senses, I always think of the five senses when I'm creating anything. If you come to one of my experiences in person, one of my events in person, the location, the space that we do the training is as important as the training, because it's not just what you say, it's how you say it, and that feeling of the brand comes into everything. And I'm glad you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, totally. And also, we are living in an era of generic everything, generic branding, generic messaging, generic websites, coaches that look like they come out of a cookie cutter mold. So the need for complete individuality, uniqueness, and impact, what I'm sure you agree, is absolutely it's never been more important than now.
No, I agree. I think we don't want homogenized culture in terms of our business development and our brand presence. We need to know what we're about and have the bravery to represent it in our brand and in what we say. What you say informs part of your brand, but I mean in the visual aspect of your brand as well.
So let's take that directly into your gift and your own secret sauce, and what you teach and what you teach others to do, which is sales, because sales is something that a lot of entrepreneurs will avoid the topic, it's like, oh, but do I have, am I actually selling here? I'm just like running a business, but okay, I need to sell. Tell me why you love selling. Tell me what all of this vibrancy that is Enfys has infused into your sales training.
I think whether you like it or not, if you're running a business, you're a salesperson, and you can reject that concept, and if you're rejecting that role, you'll be alienating your opportunities to some extent, because you're just denying a part of that identity. If you're in business, you are selling something, and if you're not, then it's going to be a flawed business. We've got to get on board with the fact that selling is the complete lifeblood of any business. Without leads, without sales, without great offers, great delivery, there's nothing there but maybe passion. We need to acknowledge it and give it the respect that it deserves. Great salesmanship is learned, and to be effortless requires effort. If you were to see like a beautiful ballerina on stage, you'd be like, oh, that was so effortless. The amount of effort that ballerina has taken to get to that stage where she makes it look effortless is an unbelievable amount of effort. And I think we need to first recognize the role that your sales skills play. They're everything. That it will open doors to untold opportunity, fulfillment, conversations, impact, money. The choices that you have later depend on the money you make now. We need to recognize that as like, oh my God, it's a thing that I could learn, like a language or skill or anything else. And then realize that it takes time to craft it, and we can see people like shouting out about blueprints and these tried and tested methods, but actually you have to find your unique way of selling, because what works for me just might not be the right fit for somebody else. I weave in the strategy, but also the strategy with regards to that individual, the CEO or the founder of that business, so it works for them and works repeatedly for them without compromise, sustainably, in terms of like it's not costing them too much time or resources or energy, or just like absolutely that they hate it. If they hate it, they do less of it. So we need to find a way of making selling enjoyable, because people do more of what they enjoy, they do more of what is effective. And it takes a moment to recognize that, oh, this is something that I could learn, and then apply and then benefit from in your business. And when you have that kind of wake up call, it's like everything's downriver from there because it's just a decision. It's a decision to pursue. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to refine my sales skills. Actually, I'm going to give this time and energy because I know that later, if I spend this amount of time and resources like up front figuring out how to sell, then the impact will touch everything that follows for the duration of your business. So we need to hero and champion the sales strategy and the sales skills and realize that everything comes into it as well. You know, business development, sales strategy is a symphony. It's like an orchestra, from the marketing, the brand building, the funnels, the offer creation, the leadership, you know, the self-leadership that you embrace. There's everything is woven into it. Like the whole business strategy is a sales strategy. So we need to give it the time and energy to do it right, so we don't reject it on some level and limit the impact of the brand. Because if you don't sell, you're limiting the impact of the brand.
Absolutely love that metaphor of an orchestra. So true. It's not just about sales calls. There's every step and every nuance and every little instrument there that need to harmonize together. So did you come up with that idea of an orchestra from the beginning? Is this something you've developed? Have you had a methodology or system that you've developed since you began this?
I think, you know, we all go through a learning phase. I mean, we're always going to be learning and refining in our business. I think it was about last year that I came up with that symphony analogy, and it helped people enormously, because otherwise people think that selling is like this one awkward, horrendous moment on a sales call when you change gears, and the transition moment of sharing information to be like, do you want to buy something? It's just so jarring. And sales strategy is ultimately smoothing out all of those transition moments, you know, so they flow and that they're in alignment. And if it feels icky, it's because you could be doing it better. You know, it shouldn't feel icky. It should never feel uncomfortable. So our strapline is more sales, more comfortably, more often. And the comfortably bit is really paramount, because we need our audience to enjoy coming through our sales process and onboarding process. And we, as the host and the facilitator of that sales process, need to enjoy rolling it out. Otherwise, yeah, you get these blocks in the process. But yeah, no, that was one of mine last year or so.
Beautiful. Keep it. Do you recognize, is there a pattern with your clients that you see repeatedly? Is there something that you see over and over and over and over again?
Absolutely. Basically, business development is a process. We need people to be aware that the brand exists. We need to generate leads. We need to convert sales. We need to retain. And behind the scenes, we need well-crafted offers that are fast to deliver and scalable for us, you know? So everybody that comes to me, that either I don't have enough leads or I don't have enough sales. So if there's not enough leads, we look at how to grow the audience and how to bring people into their world. If it's like so some of my clients have massive audiences, you know, thousands of followers on Instagram, but they're just not stepping them into any offer. So they're really good at creating the audience, but they're not quite sure how to convert that audience into a sale. Others are brilliant at sales calls. You know, they are closing their sales calls, their sales pages work, but there's just not enough traffic or not enough calls being had because their lead generation isn't on point. Other people who are really good at leads and sales, but their offers are so short or so small that they have to have so many sales to hit any real revenue numbers. It's exhausting. And as soon as the kind of sale is made, 6 weeks later, that client is done and dusted and gone on their way, and their retention model is just not in play. So that's what we look at every day in my business, across all sorts of business owners, from, you know, service-based business owners, small solopreneur business owners who are working by themselves at home, getting confused about what they sell and how to sell it. And with a bit of guidance, you'll be amazed at how much impact it makes for people. I see people completely change, completely transform the revenue and confidence that come. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I really, really enjoy seeing that transformation. Quick fire, you know, quick wins to begin with, and then like long-term strategy across across months and years later. And yeah, it's worth taking the effort to step back and fix whatever's not working in the business so you can have leads, sales, and monthly recurring revenue in the business so you don't have to stress out about money.
Awesome. So absolutely beautiful. You described that so well. So right now where you are multi awards, lots of recognition for your own skills and what you're doing. What is the vision now? How do you want to take this forward and grow what you've built?
I think startup is a phase of establishing yourself, really establishing the brand. And we've done that really well. And our next phase is just a scaling phase. Everything is in place now just to scale what we've done. We don't need new offers. We don't need to, there's nothing that we're really confused about or learning for the first time. It is literally just growing the impact and the reach of the brand through speaking and serving more people and bringing more people into our world. It's a joy, and I'm looking forward to this phase, or I'm enjoying this phase because it's easier. It's easier than the startup phase where everything is a question mark. Everything is a question mark every day. And you're like, do I continue? Do I stop? What the price is? All that mental churn is kind of settled now, and we're in a good place to scale and just do more of what we do better, not more different things, if that makes sense. So the core of the business is actually very simple now, having played around with different offers and different events and all sorts of stuff. We have to go through that playground as we experiment in our businesses, like what works, what is really profitable, what is worth it, what do people love. And of course we need to be agile and adapt as the market and the demands change, but really we're in a scaling phase now, and that's a great thing. It's a great place to be. We've got hundreds and hundreds of happy clients, incredible testimonials, our sales funnels and our challenges and our membership and our offers, masterminds, events, they always fill. So again, it's just a matter of growing the audience and bringing the brand to more people, because so many businesses struggle with sales and marketing, lead generation and closing sales. There's too many small business owners out there feeling completely at sea with how to sell. There's this huge passion for their business. Excuse me. They've got this huge passion for their business. They know there's something in them that knows full well that it could be really, really successful, but they just don't know how. And that gap is such an expensive knowledge gap, and indecision is such an expensive drain on the business. So the more reach we have, the more we can help, and the more happy clients and phenomenal impact we can have as a collective. The impact that each of my clients has brings an exponential impact to this brand, because there's a knock-on effect to what we do here. Successful women enrich communities. They enrich everything. We need more really successful, powered, committed women doing great things in the world, in their local area. And it starts with sales. It starts and ends with sales. So that's what we're up to.
Yeah, one of the most important parts of social change, I believe, women service providers making the impact that we are so fond of and dedicated to. But if we're not effective leaders by changing more people, transforming more people, which means the sales in the process, then we are less effective as a society. So I totally hear you there. I'm very passionate about that myself. So, Enfys, has it been easy to do this with your husband, with your young family, with a family environment?
Some days yes, and some days no. I think yeah, it's a difficult question to ask because business development, it just takes so much perseverance. It's grit before glamour, the amount of work that goes behind the scene. But I'm lucky to be in a position where I enjoy it. So even though it has taken an enormous amount of work, and I don't want to kind of gloss over that because it makes people feel bad if they have to work and it should be easier, that it should be easy. I'm like, no, creating a really strong, profitable, well-known, impact-led business, it takes energy, like every day for years. And so it's been a challenge sometimes to kind of integrate that with the family and, like, being in the tug of war, like, am I parenting or am I working? But that's just the nature of having a young family and also growing a business. So it's been a challenge like that to some extent, but it's been an enjoyable challenge for the most part. I'm happy to wake up early and stay up late for it. Oh, I was. Thankfully, I don't have to so much now. But that first year in business, my God, I don't know. When I look back, I'm like, how on earth did you do it? I had two really young kids. I think they must have been like, I can't even remember that. It's 4 years ago. So young kids, primary and preschool age. I had a failing travel business, which I still had to work, but I wasn't getting paid, like managing all those refunds and managing all these people who wanted to go on holiday but couldn't because of the pandemic. I had a job, like a contract job, just to pay the bills. And I had this startup, and my husband was at work and I was doing the majority of the parenting. And I look back and I was like, how on earth did you have the determination and the self-trust that it would pay off when there was no proof in the pudding? So that bit was I just can't believe that I had the energy to see it through, because there was just no proof that it would work at all. And my husband had an engineering job at the time, or that was his career. He was an engineer. And then about 2 years ago, we flipped roles. So I was like, actually, I'll become the main earner, and you well, he stopped his engineering, he gave up his engineering, and then we're like, well, actually, that means we don't have to be in England. So we've relocated to Wales, and we've got this 10-acre property. We've got sheep, chickens, we've got a pretty rural life up here in Snowdonia, and somehow or another it balances business, home life, bumpkin life, still the entrepreneurial like side to it as well. But it's a balance that we just integrate it all together. Everybody else probably think I was completely bonkers, but I'm happy. I really enjoy my work, and Rick here supporting in the behind the scenes, in the house, in the home, in the business. The kids are, I get to do pick up and drop off, and that's so it comes together somehow. But yeah, it's a challenge, of course.
I'm so glad that you mentioned the grit.
Yeah.
So that people don't think it was all like rainbows and bright colours right from the beginning, and that something that is going to come to fruition really does take so much hard work, so much energy, so much dedication, so much soul searching, all of those things. So I'm really, really excited to share this with my audience and watch you keep scaling, and which means that you're going to serve more people who can then serve more people. That is super, super exciting. So we are also going to share all of your resources. Is there any last thing that you just want to say to this one person through the camera who is listening right now?
Yeah, I think I do, actually. I think I do. So I think it takes a lot of grit. We've acknowledged that. But also it can be a really, really lonely journey. If you're the only entrepreneur in your house or community or in your friendship group, and you're doing this like bold thing that you feel like you're going to run this business, but you're kind of isolated in your own world, doing it alongside others changes everything. So you need to find a community. I wouldn't be where I am if I hadn't I've built a community around my business that we can bring entrepreneurs together, so that even if they're working from home, like me in Snowdonia in a field, or people, I've got clients in Mauritius and loads across England and Scotland and Wales, and got people in Singapore and wherever across the world, we can come together as a community and share what's difficult, what's working in today's market, what it's like collective courage. We really need that collective courage when we're working by ourselves in our own businesses. So I think like align yourself with a community and get in a network that doesn't tell you you're crazy for trying, tells you exactly who you need and how to do it. And you can collapse time by putting yourself in the right rooms as well, and not to be intimidated to go and join those spaces. I think it's really, really key. So that's what I would say to somebody listening, from like, oh, I've got an idea for a business, or I'm running my business, but it feels really hard right now, is go and find a community of others that are doing it and that will normalize it, normalize the challenge, but also normalize the success. Like, actually, I did this, and like 2 weeks later, this was created, and this is exactly what I did. And you can help each other to hold on to that belief that you can do what you set out to do, and that your work is really, really important. And I think that is what makes the challenge an enjoyable challenge, because it's a pursuit then, like a community pursuit. And that's a wonderful thing. And I wouldn't be able to do this completely by myself. I just couldn't. I really feel like I get that collective courage from the groups that I lead, of course, but also the ones that I make sure that I'm a part of, just to keep I think just community and togetherness and building a strong network of others that understand you is really, really key. So do that.
Beautiful. You've just given us some absolute gems throughout all of that. So I'm looking forward to meeting you very soon in London as well.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come and share this with us and being under the spotlight. So I'm just really, really excited to see how this grows and be in your world, be near your world. And but just so much kudos to you. It's beautiful. I just love to see some people rise, and especially, managing children and family. And
we've got so many different versions to our identity, from like mother, wife, sister, carer, entrepreneur. There's a lot to juggle. So if anybody has resonated with anything that I've said today, go to my website, which is salestrainingwithenvis.co.uk. There's some rolling resources. There's some like strong sales training. There's usually some sort of free sales training on there. There's obviously an invite to Vibrant Connections, my community, in there. But go and have an explore. My blog is really useful as well. And there's lots of resources there, podcasts to keep people connected to their sales strategy and to their own goals, and never lose sight of them, because you can do it.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much, Enfys.
Thank you.
Lights down. That's a wrap on today's Brand Runway collection. I hope you're filled with inspiration to step into your spotlight and claim your place as the sought after and fully booked up change maker you're meant to be. Remember, your gifts and the value you bring to the world are pure gold. They deserve the perfect showcase. For all the tools and resources we discussed today, including the latest edition of Brand Runway magazine and how to take the next step, your VIP access awaits in the show notes below. This is your moment to shine brilliantly. And until our next showing, this is Jenni Parker Brown reminding you that every day is your runway. Bye-bye.